Lawn cabling.
Using the wire cutter or stripper, cut approximately 1 to 2 inches of cable jacket. For crossover cabling, the two ends of the cable would have differently patterned wires. Follow the order shown in the video, it doesn't matter which side has which pattern. A quick tip, spread the wires out before getting them in order. Do the same processes on the other end. Make sure that the wires are properly inserted into the RJ45. The ends must be touching or over the golden or bronze part. We will now be using the LAN tester to see if everything is working right. For crossover cabling, the tester would show differing patterns where the lights on the other side wouldn't blink in a consecutive order. The process for straight-through cabling is just the same as for crossover. On both ends, cut approximately 1 to 2 inches or until enough for the wires to be properly inserted in the RJ45. The difference between crossover and straight-through is that straight-through follows the same pattern as the one on the other end. But we also have to take note that it's not the only difference that they have. Straight-through cables are used to connect devices of different types, like router to a computer or a switch to a router. Crossover cables, on the other hand, are used to connect devices of the same types, like computer to computer or router to router. Although the processes are the same, there are still distinct differences between the two. For this part, you will see that the wires were made sure to be inserted properly in the RJ45. By crimping, we ensure that the wires are securely attached on the other end by compressing it onto the wires. Straight-through cables will follow the same light patterns when being tested using the LAN tester. Doesn't matter which order you put the wires in, as long as the ends are the same, they would have the same results.
Networking.
For this one, we will begin by punching the wires in the patch panel. As previously mentioned before, we will be using straight-through cabling since we are connecting different devices. Next is, through the cables punched in the patch panel, we will be connecting the cables to the switch. From the patch panel with another set of cables, connect the router and the access point. Corresponding numbers where the cables are inserted should light up. For this setup, there are two other components, the server and the client. After the server finishes installation, it's time to set it up. First part will be the deletion or allocation of disk space. Simply delete any other miscellaneous storage before allocating storage for another drive. For this one, we divided 70% of the unallocated space. To allocate space, take note of the total storage space and then multiply it with the value of the percentage you want another drive to have. Then once again multiply the product by 1024. Adjust settings and type in your credentials when Windows finally starts.
Finish setting up the server computer by configuring the IP address and the computer name. It is done simply by going to the control panel. To change the IP address, click on Network and Internet and then look for Network and Sharing Center. From there, click on Ethernet and right-click and choose Properties. Look for Internet Protocol version 4 and click on it. You will then be presented a tab where you can type in your new IP address. Simply click on the Subnet Mask dialog box to generate its values. After that, proceed and click System and Security. Go to System, go to Change Settings, go to Change Option to configure the computer name and workgroup. Let the computer restart after making these changes. The same process applies for the client computer. To make sure that there is an established connection, we have to ping.
Wi-Fi configuration.
The first step for Wi-Fi configuration is to open up Command Prompt. Press on the window keys R, then type CMD. This will open up a tab which will allow us to do the first step. Simply type ipconfig and then look for default gateway. In your browser, type the default IP address router. Doing so will lead us to a website. To log in, simply type admin or user as username and password. Under the wireless security section, you will be presented with a box with the default password. Type in your new password and then save. In the wireless section, you will immediately see the default name of the Wi-Fi. Simply type in the name you want to rename it and then save. Network section, you will have various options to look from. Simply select the same slot with which the cable is inserted in the router. And then type in the new IP address along with other details required. After configuring the IP address, the subnet mask will automatically change depending on what class of IP address you put, then click Save. It will start rebooting after you click Save.
After accessing the new IP address, you can now see the new configuration that you saved.